Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. We're going to touch on a subject that probably affects a lot of people, a lot of locksmiths out there. Not just for locksmiths, but as a locksmith, it's something that well, a lot of the automotive locksmiths know about. Other locksmiths who don't do automotive might not know about this. And just because it can happen, it's well worth sort of talking about it. Back in the early days, cars weren't getting stolen that much because, they were getting stolen. They're quite easy to steal. You'd either use a screwdriver or slide hammer, rip the ignition out, and there was very little security on cars. You get into it, you get the ignition going, and you could drive away. Even some cars were even stolen with the oil dipstick. You open the bonnet, get that, jiggle the locks, ignition, and you could drive away. So you used to be able to steal cars with just about many different sort of mechanical tools, and there was no big deal about it. 96, 97 in transponders started being introduced, which was really good. People then couldn't steal cars because the key was actually coded to the car's computer. Car computer, a lot more complicated, so less cars were able to be stolen that way. And then they said, right, every car needs a transponder now, except for the commercial vehicles. So transponders were introduced, and it did slow things down and stop people from being able to steal cars. But these days, now you have the more advanced car thieves who can actually steal your car or get into your car just as quickly as they do kind of look at it. They look at it once and then they kind of come back. And I'm going to show you this loophole that can be done and how they're doing it. It's not so big in Australia, but I'm pretty sure it's going to, in a few other countries, they would already know these loopholes and they'd be able to perform them without anybody knowing, and pretty much either get into your vehicle or steal your vehicle within a couple of minutes and it not look anything suspicious. So thieves definitely have become smarter with a few tools and a few little bit of knowledge. They can steal cars. A lot of the cars locksmiths drive is a Hyundai iLoad, and for the office a lot of the staff normally use Hyundai i30s. A lot of businesses use i30s as like a fleet car, and a lot of other people who drive around do have a lot of valuable stuff like surveyors and things like that, where it's $100,000 worth of equipment in a $30,000 car. So all this is well worth noting, because if they're not aware of what I'm about to say, then they really should be. And I'll also at the end show you how you can combat this problem, because I guarantee you after watching this video you're probably going to go out and take my advice and follow the way to combat this problem. Alright, so the first thing is you don't want your car to get broken into, and you don't want your car to get stolen. Two terrible things to have happen, and very annoying. So the cars I'm referring to, it's not a complete list, because this list is open. There's a clause in here. So the cars that I'm going to be mentioning here, or the makes and the models, it can actually apply to more than that, and I'll tell you why afterwards. So the first ones we want to look at is Chevrolet, Infiniti, Nissan, Kia, Hyundai, and Smart Car. Now these particular cars are very vulnerable to this type of attack, and if you know somebody in a dealership, or you have a mate or a friend of a friend, anything like that work for an actual dealership, they have the records, the OEM records, and you can actually get the information you need from those particular people via a phone call, and you basically are going to be able to add those cars to the list. The list we've got here is just simply talking about cars you don't have to ask anybody for. You don't have to ask anything of anybody for, and you could go through and no one would be the wiser. First thing you need to do with these particular type of cars is, first thing to do is they have one look at the VIN number, they take a photo, then they go and they open up a program, and you can buy these programs online. You can pay a couple of dollars, or you can even go eBay and buy a calculator for it. So you get the VIN number, and then they convert it down to what they call a key code. From there you need another program to calculate the key code. Now the key code is the shape of the key. So they've taken the VIN number just by taking a quick photo, walking past it, taking a photo, they've got that VIN. Now they go calculate it. Now they've got the shape of your key. So right now your car can be opened, cleaned out, take what they want, lock it, unlock it, they can get into the vehicle without any trouble. So once actually do get the key code, so they've got the VIN, they change it to a key code, then you need Instacode or code, code source. There's a few good locksmithing programs. They are quite expensive, but other people are offering this service as a very simple subscription. You can pay by the month. Even Instacode, you can get it for $10 per month on your phone, and that will give you that information. So getting the the actual key code into the actual real code for the key is quite simple as well. Now the next thing is key machines. You can take, well, you can even get it done on eBay. You can simply pay your $25, eBay email them the code over, and they'll actually cut the key for you. So you don't really even need the code software. All you really need is the VIN to key code. Give that key code to a locksmith, they'll cut it, or go on eBay, they'll cut it, or you can even invest a couple of $1,000s and get a key machine that you put the key code into. It'll decode it and cut the key. $2,000 for a well established, car stealing ring. I wouldn't say that would be too far out of the question. They could cut it, nobody would ask any questions. And what's worse is you go onto eBay and you just buy the keys you want. So if you're looking at stealing or cleaning out a Kia, you buy that key with the right key chip in it, and then you buy a key machine, a couple of $1,000s, you put your code in that you've calculated from the VIN number, and then after that, away you go, you've got that key. The next thing is, for a couple of $100s you can buy an OBD tool to actually program the car. So now we're starting to look at how the car could be stolen. So you get your key, you open up the car, you sit in there, you plug in your couple of $100 tool, push a few buttons, and I'm sure for a lot of these car thieves they'd be able to do a few trial runs and get it down to a fine art and probably under 60 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. And they put it in, bang bang bang, they program, unplug their machine, and as soon as they do that, they've got a key for your car they can drive away in. Not only can they open and close the doors and do everything like your key would do, but they pretty much can go up to and drive away. And anybody who's driving a car with a key in the ignition, it definitely doesn't look stolen if they've got a key in the ignition and it's starting the car's computer. So that's what we're talking about here, the actual loop. Now if you do have a friend or a mate of a dealer, and some car thieves do, they'll actually be able to send them the details, the VIN number, and they can establish all this information as well. Here's the VIN number, can I have a key code? They get the key code. Also with the actual VIN number, you can also calculate the login code as well for the car. A lot of cars have a challenge where you plug in and they ask what's your security code, but a lot of these machines actually either calculate it, or you can use the same software that calculates the mechanical code to calculate your actual login as well. Or if you have a friend of a dealer, they can give you the mechanical key code, the login key code, and you're good to go. 2 little bits of information, 4 to 5 digits a piece, less than 10 digits, and somebody can pretty much steal your car if they can access those digits. So now we're going to go into how to protect yourself against it. It's a simple fix, but it's definitely worth doing, and I recommend all locksmiths do it, whether or not they drive a Nissan or a Hyundai or a Kia or a Chevrolet. Whatever you drive, just do it. And the reason we do it is because it's unnecessary, and it's allowing thieves and people to be able to get information they don't need. And when that information is required, remember, there's other information on the car, and you can always undo what we're going to do. You can undo it in a second, and you can put it back when you're finished. So I'm going to show you how to protect yourself against these types of attack. So you can do this on all the cars. The VIN number's located in exactly the same spot, and I'll show you where it is. Lift the wiper, and there it is right there, that white section. As you can see, it's below the dash, and I'll show you how to get to it. Okay, so what I'm using here is I've got this old folder here, piece of nothing, and I'm going to cut it into a strip, and I'll do that real quickly. Let's put you about there so you can see this. Make sure you can see it. Okay, so I'm just going to cut myself a nice strip of this. Make sure you cover the whole number, not just half of it, because you only need the rear part of the number to actually generate codes. On some you need the whole VIN number, but for the login you need the rear 6 numbers, so cover the whole thing. So I'm using a bit of plastic here.
Don't use a screwdriver or anything, use something soft. What you want to do is you want to create a wedge between the windscreen and the dash. Come through with your piece of plastic, slide it down. It's not sliding very well. I probably should use something a little bit stronger. Okay, and it's in. Now I can cut that down. I'll probably cut it down and I'll probably put a little edge on there so I can remove it. That's in from the outside. This is what you see. You can't see the number at all. And I know what you're thinking, what happens at rego time when the vehicle needs to be inspected? You've got a couple of options. You can remove this just by pulling it out, but for this particular purpose, VIN attack, generating the key code from the VIN and generating the login code from the VIN, by doing this you're protecting yourself. It's information on the outside of the car that is not necessary, and basically you can have your car stolen, broken into, all because of that silly number on the outside. So this is how you defeat it. If you haven't done it to your work trucks, I recommend you go out there right now, put it over the VIN number and protect yourself. It's not good enough to put it on the outside. You do need to go between the dash and the windscreen. Use a little piece of plastic like this, and you can remove it when needed. Thanks for watching.